Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is the fourth and final video that I'm doing today. This one was probably going to be out either Saturday or Sunday, so you guys are going to be watching it then. I've been trying to catch up on everything since I didn't get a video out on Thursday because I had family over, so I'm trying to catch up on everything. And I wanted to get you guys up to date on everything that's going on. So in this video, we're going to have Core Scientific, DMG, and Digihost updates for their spreadsheets, where I'm including the dashboard chart style version of it. So we'll go through all that information there as well, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm hoping to keep this under 25 minutes if possible. We'll try to go through this relatively quickly, but as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, please. And I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. So let's get into the numbers that we do have here. So we're going to start out with Core Scientific here, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. We're going to start out with Core Scientific here, and here's what we got going on for them. A lot of the data you guys already know. They have a lot of shares out, 369 million shares out. Stock price is at 39 cents. It's done a lot better from where it was just a couple months ago, where it was down to like 4 cents. Market cap is still pretty low, 143. They are going through bankruptcy, but it looks like they might be getting out of that. We'll have to see how that's going to play out as far as how that's going to have an impact on the shareholders. But right now, they are operating pretty well. We have seen the network, not the network. Well, the network hash has been going up, but they're also, the BTC mining that they've been mining has been decreasing because of it as well. And you can see that daily on their Twitter feed when they were posting it. So that's kind of consistent with everything else that we're seeing with the other miners. So not a big issue there, but they would need to grow. And they did sign up they signed up 3 miners just within this week, it looks like, for their hosting part of it. And that, I talked about that in a previous video. That was in the Hut 8 video, I think, on that one, where it was just a lot of news there. We went over that, but they had Greenedge sign up, and along with Alt, I think it is called, AULT, mining as well, sign up, and a third one that signed up with them as well for their hosting. So they are growing that part of the business, which I commented at that point that, you know, I'm not a big fan of hosting. We looked at the numbers for their hosting revenue and margins in that video. I'm not going to really go into it here, but they were not that great. So hopefully they improved those numbers over Q4, which we don't have the numbers for it, and in Q1. Okay, but here's what we do have right now. They are currently at 16.1 exahash. Future hash rate is going to be about 17.2 exahash for their self-mining. This does not include, obviously, their hosting part of it. So they do have a little bit of hash rate left to grow, about 1.1 exahash left. You can see that their BTC production has been consistently going up for the most part here ever since April of last year. We could probably go back a little even further to January. We would see that increase here that has been going up quite nicely here to a peak in January of 1,527 Bitcoin. Had a little bit of a drop in February. February was a shorter month. That's expected. And then March, obviously, went back up to 1410. But the network hash rate for Bitcoin has increased. Difficulty has went up. They're generating less because of that. They don't hodl any Bitcoin right now. They've been selling a lot of it. They sold, well, they had a lot at the beginning of the year, about 8,058 at that point. And then they sold a lot in June. They sold about 7,205 of it because of Bitcoin price coming down, payments they had to make. They got squeezed pretty hard here. And they've been pretty much selling ever since then. And they don't hodl anything right now, at least nothing that's being reported. Okay, so that contains Bitcoin hodl. BTC per exahash efficiency hasn't been too bad. They're at 87.5 here in March. That has been coming down for all the miners as well, as Bitcoin network hash rate has gone up. So that's not a big concern there. They're pretty efficient as it is. So that's good there. BTC sold, you can see here how much they've sold. We talked about that. If we look at their hash rate, it looks like their hash rate peaked here in January. And this was at 17 exahash right then. I wonder if they sold some miners potentially to help them out a little bit here, but it has been coming down a little bit here in February and in March. They're at 16.7 in February, 16.1 in March as well, which is a weird trend to see from them, considering that they were at 8.9 exahash at the beginning of April, or at the end of April is when we got these numbers for them. And then you can see that they went up to 17 exahash here quite nicely. They had huge growth here through that period of 600, 300 petahash, 1.1 exahash, 600 petahash, 1.79 exahash, 310 petahash, 1.39, almost 1.4 exahash, 1 exahash, 320 petahash, 1.3 exahash, and now they've been coming down here, which is kind of strange on that one. Value as far as how much they're mining. They are mining a lot here, and you can see that ever since November, it looks like November was their lowest month here at 23.8 million in revenue, and they're back up to 35.4. With Bitcoin going up in value, that is helping them out tremendously, and hopefully that will also help them out with their bankruptcy here. Bitcoin sold value, you can see here that they've been selling pretty much everything that they mine here, 35.415 million on that one. And then the last 4 quarters revenue, we can see here that Q1 that was, as far as being reported, was 133 million for them. Q2 was 109, Q3 was 80, Q4 we don't have anything for them right now, but Q1 that we're in right now, estimated is about 98 million right now, based on my numbers. So that at least is better than Q3 in 2022. So that's a good sign there. That's going to help them out as well. Last 4 quarter operating expenses, Q1 was at 68. So you're seeing these expenses go up and up here over the quarters. Like I said, we don't have any data on Q4 right now for them, so we'll see when that does come in. Other metrics here that we can take a look at, cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation has been going up here, which is also concerning. We'd like to see that come down. They should be probably closer to 13,000 or something around there by now. But they might be putting in a lot more info into that information that some of the other miners are not. It all depends on what kind of information they provide us. So if they provide us just with costs, what those costs are and everything else, whether they're including, not depreciation, but if they're including share-based compensation, other things like that in there as well, that's going to obviously skew the numbers as well. Bitcoin mined quarterly, we can see here that they mined 3,200 in Q1, 3,365 in Q2, and almost 3,768 in Q3. Q4, we could probably look at the numbers that I do have for them. We could probably figure that out as far as if they actually mined more. We can do that right now. Let's do that in Q4. So that was December quarter. So they mined actually 4,086 in Q4. So that would be higher than it is here in Q3. So their Bitcoin production has been growing quite nicely. Now, debt to equity, lower is better here, obviously, that we want to see. Q1, they were at 1.4, Q2, 3.4, so that's concerning. Q3 went up to 18.2, so that's really concerning there for them. Current ratio has also been coming down here, which is not good. We want usually higher is better. They were at 1.9 in Q1, 0.9. Usually we want to be at least at 1 or higher on the current ratio, and they're down to 0.1657 at the end of Q3. Q4 numbers we don't have for them, like I said. Okay, total current assets has also been coming down here from 808 million in Q1. Q2 was 511. Q3 was 213. I'm guessing Q4 is going to be probably even lower than that. But once we get the numbers, hopefully we'll be able to provide you guys with that information. And then total current liabilities has just skyrocketed here from Q1. So Q1 was 414, Q2 was 516, and then Q3 was 1.289 billion basically. Not sure where Q4 is going to be at on that one. So that's obviously concerning there. That's why they're in bankruptcy right now, because everything just kind of piled up on them towards the end of the year. But Bitcoin price coming down, there was no other choice but to go into bankruptcy. Okay, institutions, as far as we can see here from, we're looking back at, this probably should be 10.5, maybe this should be 9.5, I think. But that's kind of when we got the numbers for them. And let's see here. Institutions, making sure that we're getting the right numbers. Okay, we're getting the numbers. So from October, we had 178 institutions. We got peaked in January, hit 187, and then it's been coming down ever since then. So in April, we were at 114 institutions with 46.15 million shares, and 12% of that being owned by institutions. We have 4 hold ratings here now, whereas before we had 3 strong buys and 6 buys. Price target is also 50 cents for the high, average is 38, and the low is 25. Based on if they weren't in bankruptcy right now and things were looking okay for them, we could say that they could get a PE of 10 possibly, with a combined total estimated revenue of 362 million in the last 4 quarters. 50% net income from that, they would be at like $4.91. If Bitcoin really starts pumping up and they get better margins at 75% net income and PE of 10, still pretty low for them, would be $7.36. So right now, with them being in bankruptcy, it's hard for me to say that they're undervalued because they're where they are right now because they're in bankruptcy. There's a reason for it. But if all things were good for them, they weren't in bankruptcy, I would think that they would be way undervalued right now. Okay, so that's kind of where we stand right now with it. And I think that's it that we want to take a look at here. Yeah, I mean, right now, that's kind of where we're at with them. Okay, let me know what you guys think of Core Scientific. I know there's a lot of you guys that are invested in them. My dad's included in that as well. And he keeps reading on everything that's going on, and he seems to be positive that things will work out for him. So we'll see. Time will only tell. I hope that it does work out for all the shareholders that are still holding on to them and possibly buying the dip on them. So do wish you guys all the best of luck with Core Scientific here. Okay, so that's it for them. Let's take a look at the next one here. So the next one is going to be on Digihost Blockchain. We'll try to go through this really quick. Don't want to waste too much of you guys' time here. We've been through this already quite a bit here. They have 28.1 million shares outstanding. Current hash rate is about 753 petahash. They're supposed to get to about 1.1 exahash. They do have a little bit of growth left on them as well. But concerning thing part of it for them is their BTC production has been kind of up and down, but has been coming down here in the last couple months. You can see that trend coming down. That's not good there. Their HODL position is pretty small, 12.59 Bitcoins, valued about 362,000. And that's very small part of their market cap, 0.74%. The rest is the 99.26. Let's see here. Monthly difference in Bitcoin production, you can see it down here. Bitcoin HODL has been coming down from a high of 638. So they have been selling a lot of it to fund their operations. BTC efficiency has come down a little bit here as well. They were pretty close to being like in the top 7 miners or so as far as efficiency is concerned. But they have come down a little bit here. They're under that right now at 74. BTC sold, we covered that. Hash rate, you can see the hash rate has been slowly growing back up after April. Excuse me. April, they reached 920 petahash, but for some reason they had to shut down. I believe it was problem with one of their facilities. They were at 597 petahash, and they slowly have continued to grow from there. Monthly revenue has obviously took a hit because of it. They were at 4 million in April, down to 2.2 in May. And then it's gone down to about 1.4 and kind of stayed at that line, going down a little bit here in November and December, and then back up to that line as well. Here's the hash rate difference, BTC sold value, so you can see how much they are selling a month. They sold the most here, looks like in June, 8.3 million, and then they've been selling about almost 3 million to 1.5 million on average here over the last 7 or 8 months or so. As far as the last 4 quarters revenue is concerned, we can see that Q1 was at 7.3 million, and then they actually went up to 7.4 million in Q2, so that was actually pretty good there. Q3, however, was down to 3.7 million. Q4 was down up to 5.6, and now they're going to be down to about 4.7 million estimated based on my numbers a little bit here. So that's obviously concerning there as well. Given that Bitcoin price been going up and their hash rate has gone up as well. So I'm not sure if they're curtailing more than they normally would be, but this is kind of what we're getting at right now. Last 4 quarters operating costs has also been kind of going up here. They were at 6.7 million in Q1, 6.6 in Q2, 7.4 in Q3, and then 10.16 in Q4. So that's also not good there. Other metrics. Cost of money minus depreciation. This is kind of a weird one here in Q4. They reported something weird in it that skewed it all off for us. We'll see what that actually goes back to in Q1 of 2023. But overall, I would think they should be right around 12,000, 13,000 if everything was even. And then Bitcoin mined quarterly, you can see that they peaked in Q2 at 251 Bitcoin, and then Q3 was 202, Q4 was 182, so that's been going down. That's not good also, but that's given that the network hash rate is increasing. Debt to equity has been getting better for them. Lower is better, so they have been going down to 0.115. And then current ratio went up to Q3 to 4.3, and then down in Q4 to 1.8. They're still in good shape there. They at least have at least one time over to pay their current liabilities with their current assets. Total current assets is at 6.13 million. That's been coming down here from 50 million, and that's based on Bitcoin value coming down as well. Everything else included in that. And then total current liabilities is at 3.2 million. So that's been coming down from 14.8. So that's actually really good there as well. All right. Now, as far as institutions are concerned, institutions have been growing here over the last 6 months. They were in November at 19. They're up to 25 right now at the end of April. And shares, or at the beginning of April, they were at 25. Shares has also increased here a little bit. They're at 8.12% owned by institutions. However, we don't have any buys or sell ratings for them. So price target for them is right now 0, which is unfortunate. They don't have any analysts rating them right now. I have them currently at, with the last 4 quarters, combined total of about 20.9 million in revenue, 50% net income from that. We're looking at about a PE of 5 because their growth is so little, at $1.86. They're at $1.72 right now, so they're just slightly undervalued in my opinion. Pretty close to being fairly valued, I think. If Bitcoin goes up in value, I think they would definitely be up a little bit higher than where they are right now. possibly going to as high as $2.79. But if Bitcoin really starts pumping to 50, 70, 90, 100,000, they could get a 10 PE, maybe even a 15 PE if that happens. So then we're looking at $5.58 to possibly $8.38, somewhere around there when things do pump. Okay, so that's it where we're at with them right now. Like I said, they are one of the smaller miners that we do have here. 753 petahash is pretty small, where we got miners going to 16, 12, 23 exahash, and others going to 5, 7 exahash. So they do need to grow, but they have been growing pretty consistently, however slow. All right, that's it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on them in the comments down below. Love to hear from you guys there, and let's get into the next one. So the last one is going to be on DMG here. DMG, I believe, is the only one that was actually EPS positive, earnings per share positive for fiscal year 2022, if I'm not mistaken so far. So that was a great achievement by them, where everybody else was at a loss. They were actually positive, so that was good. They have shares outstanding, 166 million, current hash rate 182, so they're pretty close to Digihost. With that regard, future hash rate is going to be about 1.2. They are growing. They're supposed to get to possibly 2, but we don't have any reports as far as miners being purchased yet. Okay, so that is in the works. As far as BTC production, you can see here that they are kind of up and down, but have kind of rebounded ever since July, being down to 54, and they have consistently gone up here through December to 104, January down 100, down to 100. February at 89, March down to 78, and that is based on the network difficulty going up. I keep saying that because that's what's causing a lot of these guys if they're not growing. Okay, BTC hodl position have been kind of up and down as well, kind of flat here depending on when they report information, but they've been kind of flat since September through January, and then they reported 364 to 443, so I'm kind of guessing that they were selling a lot of the stuff that they were mining at the time to fund operations, which is fine. And then hash rate, you can see their hash rate has been growing up slowly. They were at 917 December at least, reported in January. In February, then they reported in March, they were down a little bit to here to 89. Not a big deal here. They also, as far as the revenue portion of it, they were at 3.3 million in April, came down to May of 1.5. I think they had also a problem with one of their facilities. And then they've kind of gone up here for the most part towards the end of the year and into the new year as well through March. Okay, hash rate difference, you can see it up here. They've had pretty consistent increases, only one decrease here, which was in March. And then BTC sold value, you can see that they've been selling consistently as well. We haven't had any reports in March, and that was basically because I think they added to their hodl stack here. Okay, then the last 4 quarter results are they had, or revenue, 7.5 million in Q2, down to 6.3 in Q3, down to Q4 to 4 million. Now in Q1, they're at 4.9 million. So that was an increase, and it looks like they're going to be increasing again here in my estimated current quarter. So Q1 for them is ending in December. The one that we're in right now is Q1, or we're in Q2, but this one is for Q1 of 2023. So that's a good sign that they're going up that way. And then last 4 quarter operating costs. Operating costs have been pretty consistent here for the most part, around 3.4 for Q2. Q3 was 3.3. Q4 was down to 2.6, which was good, and then they're back up to 3.9, so still within that range of error, I guess you could say, but still pretty good there. Other metrics we can take a look at here: cost to mine minus cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation, and they've been pretty consistent here as well. Really good low rates as far as cost to mine one BTC, which is good to see. Some of the other miners are around 12, 13, which isn't bad either, but they've been pretty good as far as their cost is concerned, so that's good there. Bitcoin mined quarterly, you can see here at 202 in Q2. Q3 was 212, down a little bit here in Q4 to 200. Nicely up here in Q1 to 274. So that was good there. Debt to equity ratio is really low as well, 0.08 in Q2, and they're back to 0.0834 in Q1. So still really low there, no real concerns with them. Current ratio is still pretty healthy here. They were at 4.4 in Q2. 3.0 in Q3, 3.2 in Q4, and Q1 is at 3.0. Still really good. They have 3 times the net current assets to pay off the current liability, so that's not a concern there. Total current assets did come down here from Q2 to 31 million to 13 million in Q3, down to Q4, 12.9, and then up a little bit here to Q1 to 13.5 million, so that's good there. Total current liabilities was actually coming down here a little bit from 7.17 million in Q2 and Q3 had 4.3, Q3 had 4.3, Q4 had 3.9, and Q1 is up a little bit here to 4.4. Like I said, not a big deal there. They got plenty of cash to pay for their current assets. So I'm not worried about that at all. Institutions has been increasing for them as well ever since November at 6. They're up to 8 here. Also, shares went up to 1.4 million. Still a very slight amount of shares that are being owned by institutions, 0.85%. They do have one strong buy rating, one buy rating, which is good. Price target is 74 cents for the high, 50% for the average, and 25 cents for the low. I have them at currently with the combined 4 quarters that's estimated 22.0 million. 50% net income is at 11. P of 10, we're looking at 66 cents. So that's kind of in line where they are at the high. I'm at 99 for the high actually for that one. And then 66 cents there at 23 cents. I think they're undervalued right now as it is. All right. So that is it for all of these. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, these are going to be available to my Patreon members. Those are, well, I already uploaded those, so those are available to them now. And then as far as the dashboard charts, those are going to be available to the YouTube members tomorrow probably. It's getting late here. It's around probably 10 o'clock right now when I'm recording this. So those will be available Saturday. You guys might see this on Saturday or Sunday, depending when I post this. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys probably, in this video, and then probably on Monday, if all goes well. All right, have a great weekend. I'll see you then. Bye.